Hi, welcome back. Today I'm going to take a look at the Drive on Metz, patent in France, September 1944. Bat lesson number 2, designed by this guy, James F. Dunnigan. Originally published in his book, there's a plane, War Games Handbook, how to play and design commercial and professional war games. I did manage to find the electronic version online, but thank you to those who've sent me the link. Anyway, this game covers the dates of September 7th through the 13th, 1944, during which General Georges Patton attempts to seize Metz, the city of Metz, and get across the river, the Moselle River, see here, up and down the board, before the retreating Germans can rally their forces. Historically, this was a marginal victory for the Germans, it sounds like, and I'm not that familiar with this particular occurrence. I know, I still have to do my reading on it, but I figured I'll go ahead and play the game. So, basically, there are a couple of familiar things, a couple of new things, as to be expected. I guess at this point I'm finding that to be a pattern. The foundations are very familiar. They're starting, I'm getting to the point where I'm able to kind of just skim through page 1 and then get into what makes this different from the Archer's Beginning, for example. The rule booklet is a total of 4 pages, and kind of jumping all over the place here. To give you an example, or myself at least, my daily commute to work is roughly the same distance as Metz to Thionville, or Metz to Abbeville, 30 minutes by car, 45 in traffic. The units are broken down into brigades and regiments, which I think, I'm not quite sure exactly what the difference of the two. It seems like regiments are describing mainly infantry, groups of infantry. In this game, the brigades are all some sort of motorized or mechanized unit. Looking at the combat results table, you'll see it's based on differential, just like in Strike Force 1, Fading Glory. I think this is what you call bloodless CRT, where there's no elimination result. There are, however, 2 types of defender retreat results, the 1 hex and the 2 hex retreat results. The attacker retreat is one type. Over here, the terrain effects chart, you'll see clear terrain now costs 2 movement points to move through. And another interesting thing is that it takes a whole day, basically, to cross a river hex side. And that applies to both the Moselle and the Selle River, which looks like a major and minor river. I think that the thickness here of the Moselle River really only applies to when you're determining the accumulation of victory points, the distinction here between major and minor. Otherwise, they behave the same way when it comes to movement and attacks and retreats. That, let's see, what else? A sequence of play. You can see 3 phases for each player. First is the US cross-river VPs. So each player at the beginning of their turn gains 1 victory point for each of their units that begin their turn on the east side of the Moselle River. Then they move into the combat phase. I'm sorry, movement and then combat, obviously. Movement, combat. And then, for the German players' phase, we have movement, then combat, then a no US cross-river VP. Singular. 1 victory point at the end of their turn if there are no US units east of the river. And that's basically a full turn. The winner of the game, much like a Euro, is determined by this victory point track, and there are different degrees to which one might gain a victory. Here it says, if one side has 5 more points than the other, it has won a marginal victory, 10 points substantial, 15 or more decisive. If neither side is more than 4 points ahead, the game is a draw. The game begins with all of the US units right off the map, ready to enter. They're designated N, C, S, North, Central, South on the counters to show where they would enter from. And the German unit gets 1 Panzer Brigade at turn 2. This I think you can postpone. I'm not sure when or why you would do that. Victory points are unique. There's a unique victory point schedule for each side. The US players is down here. The Germans is up here. So there are some points that you accumulate over the course of the game, some points that you, bulk of points that you accumulate at the end. For the US player, they gain, at the end of the game, 20 victory points for being the last to enter, pass through Metz, 5 for Thionville. There are 5 points that are granted to the US player for each of their units that exits the map from the east edge. It must be a voluntary exit, it can't be forced, it can't be by retreat. If it must retreat over the east side of the map, then it's simply considered eliminated. Eliminated units cannot return. For the German player, they get 10 points instead of 5 for every unit that exits the map via the west edge. For these Panzer Grenadier armored infantry units, there's 4 of them here. Those units gain a certain number of points when they exit the south edge or the west edge of the map. And the number of points that they receive is shown here on the turn track. Starts at 7 each turn, goes down to 6, 5, 4 per unit, etc. They also, like I said, gain a point at the end of every turn. There are no US units east of the Moselle River. And this is really important. They gain 1 point for each US combat strength eliminated during play, which is tricky because, like I said, there are no eliminated results. So you have to push them, force them to retreat across the river, retreat into an occupied hex, retreat into an enemy zone of control, retreat over a map hex side. So it's really about that maneuvering. I wanted to also mention that along with this handy game setup illustration and 4-page rulebook, we get this 4 pages of sample turns and strategy notes. So it's detailing the first full 2 turns of the game. Illustrations, haven't looked at it yet, don't think I will anytime soon, at least not until I've explored the game. Optional rules and, let's see, 2-3 scenarios on the back of this sheet. There are these optional rules counters that come along with those rules, and there are a lot of them. I'm not sure in what combination they appear, but there are almost as many as what came with the original base game. And that's all together in one package, so that's pretty neat. I won't be playing with those rules, but I will be taking a look at them in a future playthrough eventually. So on to the playthrough. I think I must have bumped this guy. Garrison Infantry Brigade. He definitely starts in Metz. I turned off the camera, he was Moving this away. Not good. Stay there.